I really need a new job.
Because all you can say is oi, oi, oi.
Like the better with a mouth shut.
Battle pregnant, because women going into battle pregnant is a Hollywood fetish at this point.
So tired of The Boys, everyone does them. Yeah, but I haven't done it yet. Something a little bit more lighthearted. Disclaimer. I have not watched a single episode of The Boys. My knowledge comes from Arch and Sargon, right? Or I guess mostly Arch. From all the years I've listened to the Archcast, because it's been a discussion of topic for a very long time now. It's been, what, 5 seasons? I know it started off very strong. Season 1, everybody loved it. And then everyone's favorite character was this guy, Homelander. Because they don't know how to write an actual right-wing villain. And then they try to, like, make him more and more like Trump. As, like, social commentary for how awful and evil Trump is. And they just made him more and more based and more loved. So they constantly put him through, like, all these humiliation rituals that make fun of him, including the ending of the season. So, like, I know about it because I've heard the topic being discussed quite a few times. But after hearing how hyper-political it went after season 1, I was like, I'm not gonna touch this. I've seen some scenes and clips of it too, where it's, like, very sexual and degenerate. Like, I get they're, like, these superheroes are actually, like, you know, morally gray, more like villains, you know, but, like, I don't really like content that's, like, super sexual and degenerate. Despite how much I talk about my fetish, right? I don't really like entertainment that is, like, basically porn. But I've seen this, like, very grotesque scenes from this show too. I'm like, I'm gonna pass on this. I'll just have other people watch it for me, like a good Floyd.
Well, what if we share a different destiny? Something a little more scorched earth. Shock and awe. Blood and bone. I'll suck it, please. I'll do anything. You want me to eat shit? I'll eat your shit.
Please don't do anything. I'll fucking suck your dick. If you want me to eat your shit, I'll eat your fucking shit on NASCAR's front lawn. Well, that's a pretty good meme right there. So I did watch Endgame, that's for sure. Oh my god! The Chud Alert! The Chud Alert's absolutely beautiful. I love this Chud Alert so much. Oh, that's where this meme's coming from? Yes. Cause, like, I've seen the clip. It's been such a cultural discourse the past few days, ever since the season finale came out. It's like, Homeland is supposed to be Trump, is my understanding, once again, not actually watching the show myself. But Homelander's supposed to be Trump. They're about to kill him. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna actually, you know, suck your dick, elite shit, you know, this huge humiliation ritual because they hate conservatives and Trump so fucking much. Literally, there was already a Trump assassination attempt just a couple of years ago, right? We're getting close to the 2-year anniversary of it, where he literally gets shot in the fucking ear, and he does the exact opposite of it. Like, he immediately stands up and puts his fist in the air and goes, fight, 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 fight. I know, and then there's, like, this aura farming picture that's been taken with him with the blood trailing down his neck, and the Secret Service members trying to, like, hold him up with the fist up. And there's another photo of, like, the bullet just whizzing past his ear too, because, like I said, it just scrapes him because it missed, like, it just barely missed him. So it's just like, they're trying to be like, oh, this is what Trump would do if he's about to die via Homelander, but, like, he literally had an assassination attempt on him. Barely missed him by, like, a few millimeters from just completely carving out his skull. And yet they're trying to display him as being weak and just a huge embarrassment with this scene. This doesn't actually line up, but they don't care about that because it's Hollywood, right? It's the tiny little, you know, hats with their little grubby rubbing hands here. They just want to hate the right because they hate how popular it's become. Oh, there's one of Hitler.
Greetings, you over 1 million practitioners of common sense and the 40% who haven't subscribed yet. The Boys series on Amazon has finally come to an end, or as some might say, it's been put out of its misery.
This. Fuck off.
Just over a month ago, The Boys creator Eric Kripke told The Hollywood Reporter that he
That's a rat physiognomy if I've ever seen one.
was anxious about the fan reaction to the final episode, and now we all know why. That anxiety was justified.
A lot of shows outsmart themselves, and they say, the audience really wants this, so we're not going to give it to them. And, and then everyone ends up super disappointed. And I live in terror of that.
Oh, bollocks.
Eric Kripke on how he's girding his loins for the season 5 finale. Well, I hope he was wearing a cup. Oh, and we will certainly get to the dizzying parallels between our current political reality and all the stuff they conveniently left out. The Hollywood Reporter asks him in this April 7th article, what most excites you about the final season of The Boys? Excites is the wrong word. What makes me most anxious about the final season is really hoping we land the plane. It's super hard to do a finale. Fans will retroactively judge the show based on how they feel about the finale. If we stiff it, they will definitely say, well, that show wasn't as good as we thought it was.
Not to give him credit here. He's technically kind of right, but not at the same time. It is hard for them to do a finale, right? Because you're trying to tie up all the loose ends, you're trying to give a satisfactory ending, you're trying to please the fans. And a lot of people don't actually really want the show to end, but at a certain point the show does need to end. It's not easy to deliver with that and make everyone happy, because there's always going to be something that kind of got fucked up, because they are human. However, when you're basing a show off previous material, like The Boys does have a comic, and a lot of times TV shows and movies don't actually follow the comic to a T. They make different changes here and there. From what I've heard, they've definitely deviated off the beaten path of the comic. Like, Homelander wasn't even supposed to be as, insane or as such a villain as he actually is. While they turn him into it, because once again, as a representative of Trump, as a commentary about the right and how evil they are, because we haven't had, decades of that already. And then another factor is that the writing quality has just decreased substantially over the past 10 to 15 years now. I don't think I've heard a single popular show in the past, let's say, 6 years now, because anime got a huge boost with COVID, right? The anime tourists came in, the hoodweebs came in. I don't think I've heard a single show actually have a good finale. There's always problems with it. And, Western makes a bit more sense, because you have the DEI writers, you have the politics being injected in it. They can't write in general. There's no creativity there. But with anime, it's a little bit more surprising, because it's like the Japanese don't have these problems. They don't have DEI, right? They're still a patriarchal society for the most part. I mean, obviously they have women in the workforce, but it's not as, let's say, woke or as filled with feminism as it is here in the West on certain issues. They're more conservative, right? But they still have this problem. Seems like, once again, a more recent problem in the modern age. Or maybe it's just because, we're living through it that it seems to be so bad. But it's definitely a case in the West because of the politics. Like I said, he's certainly right, but a lot of it is self-inflicted at the same time.
Prophetic words, because lo and behold, that's exactly what's happening right now. The comparisons are already out there with the Game of Thrones finale, the Stranger Things finale, and now the Boys finale. Thing is, 2 of those finales came this year, but at least Game of Thrones was good for a few seasons and Stranger Things was good for a couple of seasons. Some may or may not agree with that, and that's fair, but let's be real, The Boys hasn't been good since season 1. Now, the point
Yeah, I never watched Game of Thrones because I wasn't allowed to as a kid. By the time I became a teenager, it was already ending. People still talk about how horrible the season finale was for season 8 to this day, and how there's a quality decrease from season 6, season 7, and then season 8 was just such a shit show and stuff. So it's just I'm not gonna bother watching it. Stranger Things I did watch until season 3, I think. I remember watching season 1 when it was all the rage, and it's okay, it's an okay show, not too bad. I watched season 2 and I thought season 2 was better than season 1 and actually kind of got me into the show for a little bit. But then I watched season 3 and was okay, this is just woke nonsense. It was already fair in season 1 and season 2, but season 3 just made it a million times worse. And so I was okay, I'm out of here. I don't think it even finished season 3, but I can't remember. It's been so long. But honestly, with any show, if I hear that the season finale is bad, or that the last couple seasons are bad, I just don't really bother watching it. Because what's the point of getting invested in something that just is an absolute failure at the end? Like, doesn't actually give you a satisfying ending. Like, I might make exceptions for something that's really good until the very end of the show, right? Or like, because like once again, finales are hard to write, but that hasn't been the case in so long. So like, what's the point? A lot of these shows start dying after like the last couple seasons, anyway. So yeah.
Was out came in season 2 when they did the girls get it done thing and then went on to do the thing they just mocked when the girls got it done by beating the crap out of the gender swap from the comic Stormfront because women could be Nazis too.
So revolutionary, it's so bold and so brilliant.
But that was only the beginning with this show that is a satirical parody that became a parody of itself, including but not limited to, in no particular order, spinning off the boys' universe into the VCU, the VOT cinematic universe. Never mind that it's not cinematic, and of course people are going to say, don't you get it? They're leading into the joke.
Fuck is all that?
Yeah, by becoming the joke. Starting with Gen V, which was supposed to be the heir apparent. Unfortunately, nobody watched and it was canceled. Then there's the VOT Rising
about
prequel
that.
featuring Soldier Boy, which much
Listen, I'm just gonna say Jensen Ackles is hot as fuck. So I will appreciate any time a clip of him pulls up on screen, no matter how bad the show is. Anyways.
of season 5 of The Boys was sacrificed to set up, and The Boys Mexico. The only problem with this expansion is The Boys TV series was, and always will be about Homelander, who's dead now, along with the show and, yes, the VOT cinematic universe. Because showrunner Eric Kripke thought it was a much better idea to forego and sacrifice any of the twists and turns and complexity from Garth Ennis's comics to give us 5 seasons of Homelander as Trump, get it?
When we first pitched the show, it was before Trump was elected. And the idea that a celebrity would actively want to turn themselves into a fascist autocrat was kind of a crazy idea. I mean, it still is.
A fascist autocrat. Trump is a fascist autocrat. I don't think he understands the words that he's using. Now, to be fair, I'm a dumb woman and I don't understand the words I use either. But I definitely don't think he is. Actually, you know what? I'll take that back. He does know. He does know the words he's using, but he knows he's using it incorrectly because he's just dog whistling, right? He's saying the right words to have the right message, to push the fact that Trump is a dictator, right? I wish he was, but he's not. All that fun stuff that the left keeps on pushing and to make people go more and more insane. So the lefties and the normies get indoctrinated into that message more and more as the years pass. So yeah, he does know what he's doing.
But it turned out to have happened. But we sort of lucked into whose metaphor is really about the moment we're living in, which is the cross-section of celebrity and authoritarianism. And so like once we realized that, we're like, well,
I do say the reaction gifs for the show is actually really good. But then again, it's only because of Homelander being a good character. Because by trying to make him into being this evil thing, by being this parody of trying to make him into Trump and all that fun stuff, they actually made a character that people like, hence why they are going with this whole humiliation ritual.
we have to go all the way. And so every season we've just pushed it.
I'm the Homelander, and I can do whatever the I want.
And unsurprisingly, for the 5th season in a row, the boys are spending their time trying to figure out a way to kill Homelander, who, after the events of season 4, not only has aspirations to run the country, now he wants to be a god.
I'm the Messiah. I'm the savior of the world.
A season many of the fans who hung on were calling filler, which is an accurate description. A redundant multiple MacGuffin chase enclosed in a mystery box. And we all know what's inside of that.
Let's see what's in the box. Nothing!
So after spending a season finding out whether or not the MacGuffin superhero virus actually works on just superheroes, all while trying to prevent Homelander getting the other MacGuffin, V1, which will make him immortal, leaning into the trademark ripping people in half constantly or excessive talks about buttholes, including bringing back Paul Reiser's The Legend to talk about eating buttholes.
So, Geisha told me to eat her golden ass.
I dined at that establishment back in '78, and the service was great.
Or superhero snip.
See, that's what I mean, right? I don't like. I know it's more leftist. It's crude. They think it's funny. They're trying to be like safe horny by talking about this stuff, but also being degenerate at the same time. But it's disgusting. I don't like it when shows do this kind of stuff. And everything has to be about sex and assholes and everything like that. Like you can make women hot, right? Don't have ugly women. You know, give her tits and ass, but you don't have to make everything about sex.
Sniffing buttholes, and an entire season of the audience just trying to figure out what Starlight is saying that has nothing to do with all the plastic surgery the actress said she didn't have.
Why haven't you tried to spring them before?
Oh yeah, that's another thing I've seen about this show is the actress for this lady. Like I've seen the before and after she got her plastic surgery, and it's just like holy shit. I know the tiny hats hate beautiful blonde woman, though to be fair, her hair is probably dyed, or at least dyed to be a brighter blonde than it naturally is. And so there's this huge psyop within Hollywood to make them get plastic surgery to turn them into monstrosities. But still, she was gorgeous. Like a solid like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Though again, I'm coming from the woman's perspective, so I know men have different opinions on this stuff. And to like this thing, this alien creature, and it's just like, why did you do that to yourself?
And ladies, please don't do that.
Thank you. See, here's the differences. Like she looks so good. And he's got a little bit like I'm getting like a baby face vibe after her. Like, I think she's like 20 if I remember correctly when she started this, and then she just like I've seen worse pictures of her after the surgery. Like this doesn't still look that bad, even though it's heavily makeup on it. She's got a lot of makeup on this one too, but like just different. Just don't.
To yourselves. We get to a season finale which can be best described as a fart in the wind. And sticking with the theme of anuses, we open up the finale with Frenchie's funeral, where they're reading his last will and testament where he talks about buttholes.
I do have something to give you. The knowledge that I've seen each and every one of your assholes.
Excuse me?
In this episode called Blood and Bone, which is a callback to a conversation.
I'm surprised Neurotic didn't use this photo, because this is a much better one. This is like the infamous photo comparing her. Night and day. Barely the same fucking woman. Like, if you told me it's the same woman, I would not believe you. And she's clearly wearing even more makeup right now in this photo, too. Like, there's already a lot of makeup on her, right? She's got the foundation, she's got eyeshadow, mascara, eyeliner, lipstick going on here, the little bit of eyebrow stuff, too. Probably a little bit of blush there. So she's wearing about 5 layers of makeup. This is like 10 layers right here. Plus, she looks like an alien from the buccal fat removal surgery. I'd like, just ban it. Just fucking ban it here. Just, like, so obviously she's gonna age, but like, she would still look roughly the same at 25, because she's not hitting the wall yet at 30. But now she looks like she's like 40. And then some.
Butcher and Homelander had earlier in the series, where I'm sure many were wondering who lives and who dies as the chess pieces come together in this big fantastic ending. And since we're so far off the comics anyway, we might actually see some scorched earth. Well, sorry, spoilers. Instead of scorched earth, think stained carpet, and most everybody survives. Now, A-Train was killed earlier on in the season, and the aforementioned Frenchie was killed in the penultimate episode, but of the prominent characters, everyone's still around, and guess what they need to do? Find a way to kill Homelander, who, thanks to Soldier Boy handing him the V1, is now immortal. Essentially, the plot is the remaining boys have to infiltrate the White House, and they get some help from a conscience-stricken Ashley Barrett in the last minute so they can prevent Homelander from giving his speech announcing his divinity.
You deserve a god who doesn't die. A god who fights back. A god you can believe in.
One of the biggest of many flaws of this show is Homelander's godhood and actually convincing people to believe it. It may or may not have helped to make him.
I noticed the crosses in the background already, but the crown of thorns obviously made it very apparent that not only they're making fun of Trump, but they're also making fun of Christianity in general, which is what to be expected from a fucking happy merchant in Hollywood trying to demoralize white people and Americans. How do normies watch this, honestly? Like, seriously, how do normies actually watch this stuff? I get they're like ostriches with their head in the sand, and I get I'm hyper political, but this stuff where it's so blatantly in your face, you want to throw up? How?
him immortal in the first episode instead of him running around with Soldier Boy so you could do a soft pilot for another series instead of him being immortal for just 2 episodes. And that probably would have helped showrunner Eric Kripke, big Trump fan by the way, avoid the mountain of criticism he is deservedly getting for it feeling contrived and rushed, because that's exactly what it is. And that's why I believe him when he says it's almost like you're trying to secure your legacy with these finales. Well, the show's legacy, and unfortunately it will affect your legacy too, because you don't get to choose that. Life will choose it for you. And it's the first finale I've ever done too, so it's not like I have any experience with it. And it shows, because again, this finale is essentially the boys trying to stop a speech where Homelander is trying to convince a public who doesn't believe him that he is a god. Now he does eventually go off.
Okay, so probably being a little bit too generous with this guy, this Eric Kripke guy, but you have to write your first finale somehow, right? It's just like the jobs that like are entry level but require like 5 years of experience doing whatever it is like, well, how am I supposed to get the experience if I never had the job in the first place, you know? Well, one of those cases, to a certain degree, I don't think it's a lack of experience like Neurotic is saying here. I think it's just propaganda. Like, they don't give a shit. Not to mention, with the success of The Boys, the fact that they are trying to do all these spin-off shows, and the fact that he is a happy merchant, doesn't matter if the finale sucks, right? Doesn't matter the show's gone down the drain over the past few seasons. It doesn't matter. He's got the industry connections. He's got the wealth. He's got the power. He'll just be passed on to another project like all these other directors and producers that create more propaganda to demoralize white Americans and make fun of conservatives, and the cycle will continue on whatever the next project is. If they actually did care about merit, all the directors that have made all these movies in the past 10 plus years would have been kicked out of the industry by now. But they haven't, because they only care about the messaging. And so here we are.
Script and says he's gonna crush all you puny humans. And it's at that point where Butcher, Kamiko, and Deus Ex Ryan come in and have a big battle in the Oval Office live on television. We're in front of God and everybody. Homelander is depowered by Kamiko, humiliated, offers to suck Butcher's D, and brutally murdered. Oh, and we'll get back to that in just a minute. But just like the rest of season 5, and let's just call it this entire series, it was just a waste of your valuable time. And as far as the character resolution is concerned, if that's what you want to call it, it's abysmal. We'll start with Sister Sage, the smartest woman in the world.
Oh, jeez. Was that a dildo? Sorry, hold on. Wait a second. Is that lube? I can't say I'm surprised what I do know about this show, but it's still fucking disgusting.
Smartest woman in the world.
Oh, jeez.
Who helped replicate the Soldier Boy radiation experiments on Kamiko so she can have new powers to take other people's powers. Wonder where they're going with that one. Well, the first test is taking Sister Sage's powers, which works, and Sister Sage, who was the dumbest, smartest person alive I've ever seen in any TV show or film, just becomes the dumbest person alive.
Of course they made a
beautiful black queen
woman the smartest person alive. They made her dumb in the process,
which is highly unrealistic.
You know, the average IQ is
185
plus, you know, a few points for being a woman. But of course they fulfill the role with the black woman initially.
I'm stupid like you guys.
Obviously.
And despite all of the people she murdered or put in prison camps, she's allowed to walk free because she's a diverse woman in a Hollywood production, and we can't have them taking accountability for anything.
They'll never know what you sacrificed for them.
Speaking of diverse women, all of you who watched that Gen V series, how'd you like your big payoff where they were told to move to Canada? Oh, father was killed by a gift that was given to him by his president wife, Ashley Barrett, a turbine-grade titanium ball gag reinforced with ballistic Kevlar straps that somehow Mother's Milk knew what it was, recognized what it could do, and put in no father's mouth.
I really need a new job.
The Deep who...
What? I didn't understand, like, any of that past 30 seconds. Other than more degeneracy, and that makes me want to throw up.
Survives the comics doesn't survive the show. After an Alaskan pipeline disaster that killed billions of fish that was blamed on him, he was banished from the ocean, and after a fight with Starlight, he's pushed into the ocean, where somehow this superhero with super strength, super healing ability, and is bulletproof is killed by an octopus. Well, that's going to start that power scaling argument again that the media literate crowd says is unnecessary. Then there's Billy the Butcher, played by the great Carl Urban, who can call people a better than anybody I've seen in Hollywood, but even that gets a little old.
Because all you can say is oi, 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 cut.
Like the better with a mouth shut.
Well, after
I just want to point out, like, I don't understand the editing of this video. Sorry, Nerdrotic. But he's censoring fucking shit and stuff like that from both himself and the show, but allows cut to pass through even though YouTube doesn't like cuts. I know they kind of, like, they don't even bother making exceptions for Australians, even though it's very popular within their language, but, like, YouTube does not like the "see you next Tuesday" word. Now, in live streams, it's actually not that big of a deal, because once you get past an hour of a live stream, you can get a bit more loose with your language, but for a video, it's much harsher. That kind of confuses me, but okay.
killing Homelander, being rejected by Homelander's son Ryan, and Terror, his dog, dying of old age, which is the only time you might feel anything concerning the show aside from complete boredom and disgust. Butcher decides all the superheroes need to die, and he's going to wait until they're all in the Vought building, put the virus in the sprinkler system, and kill them all until he's stopped by Huey and killed by Huey, which is exactly how it doesn't happen in the comics aside from the act of Huey killing Butcher. Sorry, spoilers. In the comics, the big twist is Black Noir is a clone of Homelander who did all the horrific acts that were pinned on Homelander, and then Black Noir kills Homelander, and then Butcher kills Black Noir. He also kills Frenchie, Mother's Milk, and the female, or the female of the species, who was renamed to Kamiko for the show for agency or some shit. Anyway, Butcher dies at the hands of Huey, but unlike in the comics where he manipulates him and dies with a smile on his face, in the show he dies crying and portrayed as a hero, where in the comics he was the villain. Carl Urban is great and everything, but unfortunately his Butcher got lost in the Anthony Starr sauce of Homelander. As far as the rest of the characters go, President Ashley Barrett refuses to resign or accept any accountability for her actions. Sound familiar?
Typical woman. He does a really good job explaining the differences within the show versus the comic, and then how things are kind of like fucked up between them and where the show's gone wrong. And this is just a 14-minute little video here.
But then the boys subverts our expectations and forces her to accept accountability for her actions. Giancarlo Esposito playing Stan Edgar as Giancarlo Esposito, because nobody plays Giancarlo Esposito like Giancarlo Esposito, is reinstated as Vought CEO. Kamiko, who now has Soldier Boy's powers, and the biggest mistake with her this season was allowing her to talk, moves to France. Mother's Milk gets married, and I guess he's going to be the stepfather to Ryan. And Starlight and Huey settled down to work at Campbell Audio Visual and live in peace. After aborting his first child, Starlight has decided to keep this one, which will obviously be a superhero, and then go into battle pregnant, because women going into battle pregnant is a Hollywood fetish at this point.
This reminds me of Adam Eve from Invincible, because I did watch Invincible. I haven't seen the most recent one. Really wasn't like that into it because it was already very, very woke, and I already knew about the problems of the show. The whole Adam Eve situation with her, you know, getting pregnant with Mark's kid and aborting it, and, you know, just not taking responsibility because he was fighting a war, you know, to save humanity and a lot of fun stuff. It's like, oh yes, of course it's a white woman getting pregnant. Of course she's getting, you know, gets an abortion and it's celebrated and it's okay and fine. And she does actually choose to stay pregnant, then she's, you know, going to battle and, you know, risking the child's life in the process. Like, we can't actually have wholesome family values for white people anymore. Or really family values in general. It has to be this degeneracy, slop, and disgust. Because, like, even though he's doing a good job summarizing the differences between the show and the comics, like, the show just sounds awful. Like, I never was interested based off what I knew already. It always, like, gives this visual disgust out of me, right? And then there's just this factor, too. It's just like, ugh. It's just, I just can't stand it. Just cannot stand it.
Did you me? What? Is this some kind of incest thing?
No! What about Soldier Boy? I have no idea. They put him in stasis and we never see him again. But the main man who did all the heavy lifting was Anthony Starr, and I think my good friend Mullard put it best. Anthony Starr is the reason the boys survived. He made Kripke's shitty writing feel purposeful. His passion in every scene, with every meme-worthy expression, convinced the audience there was far more substance, only for the finale to leave you looking back with near nothing. Excellent actor, Hope he gets better opportunities. Couldn't have said it better myself. That's why I didn't. Now let's go back to that final battle in the Oval Office, which was one of the most contrived I've ever seen put to screen. Homelander had multiple opportunities to either escape or defeat his enemies. There's a scene earlier on in the episode with some real subtle messaging. Not sure if you caught it, but there is a character that's supposed to be Elon Musk.
I'm a disruptor. I disrupt.
He's portrayed as the richest man in the world, an amateur astronaut, and worried about white birth rates. To get rid of him, Homelander flies him into space to become an astronaut, returns in a matter of seconds. But he spends the Oval Office battle dicking around with 3 people he could kill easily. Why not fly behind Kamiko and rip her heart out?
It's just a bunch of dumb motherfuckers, right?
Eric Kripke has said he purposefully wanted him to look weak at the end, and he certainly did. Only problem is, it was obvious he was nerfed by the script. Also, Eric Kripke could visualize his rage fantasy against a president. But unfortunately, in the end, all Homelander is a caricature within a political satire that goes after one side with a tactical nuke and the other side with a water pistol. In a show that was supposed to be a parody that became a parody of itself, the joke went on to...
I wouldn't even say a tactical nuke based off of everything I know about in the clips I've seen. It's just the messaging they're trying to contrive is just so on the nose and so poorly written that it's not even really a nuke. A tactical nuke would be like something that actually destroys the riot, like puts them in their place, in my personal opinion, right? Or just rips them to shreds. Versus this is just like laughable. Homelander was so beloved because of those different memes you can make. Like Mueller said, despite the shitty writing for all these different seasons, that has gotten worse and worse. And because they try to make him evil, but in the end just made him base. It's like the Soy Jack versus the Chad meme, and it's like looking in fear, and the Chad is smiling there smugly, and the bubbles coming from both of them, and that people use for quote tweets. I like to use it from time to time because it's just great. It's like that with Homelander, right?
Too long, and ultimately the joke was on the audience. If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you heard, I thank you for listening this long. I will see you in the next video.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe. This is a good cover of Ode to Joy, I must say. But anyway, here is the link to the video. I'm going to put this in the chat here. You know, give it a like, give it a comment, actually watch it. It's a pretty short thing. And like I said, for someone who actually hasn't watched the show myself, I think it does a pretty good job of explaining it. Like, it basically expands upon the knowledge that I already know from other people and what I've observed online. At the same time, going a bit more, like, in-depth of everything. I know, like, modern slop is dying. That's why anime has become so popular in the West for, like, the younger generations, for better and for worse. But there is still a whole other world, right? There's still a whole other ecosystem where normies actually watch this shit and enjoy it to some sort of level. They're just a lost cause. If they're still watching this in 2026, they're a lost fucking cause here.